Okay, hi guys. My name is Nugroho Anggara, and then here I would like to tell the story about uh, planes, fire, and rescue. This is the next generation of film of planes, and then uh, now in the story is about Dusty. Dusty is the world champion aerial racing, and then he is one of the famous planes at that time. When in the story, he is at this village, and this village is full of the another plane, full of another officials that used to be his friends, and then. Dusty in the past film is the world champion aerial racing, and then he tried to his mind at the village, but still he is trained himself to do the acrobatic technique, acrobatic actions like that. And then when he's is doing his training, during his training, he's accompanied with his manager, like his assistant. That is the ex-military jet from the U.S. Air Force. And then when he when he fly to his training, he fly across the circuit, and then he began to do the high maneuver flying. He fly up, and then because he's too exciting, I think he's try to even fly even higher from even his fly amount of Torque is the highest amount of highest sky for the plane to go up like that. He's tried to go up even higher, and then suddenly his gearbox is broke off because he's forced his engine to fly even higher, and then suddenly he feels like dizzy, and then his engine is suddenly turned off, and he's very like excited like that, because tube is become suddenly turned off, and then he's loss of his control, and he is falling down, begin to falling down, and then his manager tried to ask him, why you lost your flying control? Is that your flying action? Is that your maneuver like that? But he's not answer because he's lost consciousness, and then the Dusty suddenly wake up, and then the manager is try to wake him up, and then quickly his engine still can be function, and his manager apply for the dangerous situation landing, and at the airport Dusty checked his engine to his engineer at the village, and then the engineer is said that his gearbox is broke off because of his to force his gearbox to fly even greater, even higher like that, and the impact is he can't to move more faster or more higher like that, because because of his part of gearbox is actually broke the small like small cable, like small iron from the gearbox is broke off because of too more pressure of that gear. And then the engineer is said that he actually must to be change his gearbox because his gearbox is too old for his type of plane. And then when he want to change his gearbox, the engineers can to make another one because he's too old-fashioned. And then she's not don't have any skills to do that, to make any new gearbox for that fits to Dusty's gearbox. And then Dusty feels very upset because very sad and upset because he's the racing type of planes that he likes to move faster and like to racing like that. And then at the night, the village is having a party, and then but Dusty is not attend that party because he's very upset and he's still locked himself in his own garage. And when he wanted to clear her mind, to clear his mind, he walks over the circuit of the landing place. And then he thinks that I want to try my gearbox is still function as always, or it broke as the engineer said. And then he try to fly again. He try to speed up his engine. And then he doing the backflip maneuver that he tried to use it before when the accidents happen. And then he can backflip completely, and then he can move greatly, and then he still on in the range of the sky. So that means his gearbox is don't have problem at all. But suddenly the engine is blown off because is the gearbox is already broke, and then he forced again to use it even more speed or higher. And then he fell down, and then when during the fell down time, his plane tails touched the tower, the communication tower, and the communication tower is falling down. And when the tower is falling down, the tower is on the fuel package that contain of hazard substance that. And then the package is blown off, and then the fire is set up. And then when the fire is set up, the villagers is very worried about that. And then suddenly they are old firefighters that live there and try to set down the fire, but he is too old to do that. And then the old firefighter is try to ask the other people to help him to break off the tower of water plant. Then everyone work together to broke the water plant, and the water plant is blown off, and then the water is set down the fire. And then Dusty once again feels very upset because his silly actions, he made all the villagers, all the airport base uh, broken, and then he is very upset. Then he back to his garage, and then he tried to walk again in the night, and then he saw all the old firefighter that the old firefighter is let me since his photo is passed with his firefighter teams, and then Dusty asked him that who is that, and then what are you doing at that time, and the old firefighters said that I'm used to be a firefighter long distance past ago, and then now I can't do that because I'm too old, and my they are all over my body is full of scar, and I can't do the physical job like the firefighter doing. And then the old firefighters have the idea that want to send Dusty to to his friend's place that run the firefighter airport, run the firefighter teams. His old friends. The name is Blade Ranger. The Blade Ranger is one of the firefighter team that still work as the firefighter, even he's old. And then the old firefighter is excited because he knows that Dusty cannot fly in the speed condition, and then the firefighter work is the most fit for him to gain his body fit again. And then the old firefighter suggests him to study there, and then in the next morning Dusty began to fly to the old firefighter place, and then there in the first time Dusty feels worried because he can't adapt with the other firefighters because the other firefighter is great. And then there Dusty met the Dipper, and then met the Blood Ranger, the captain of the firefighter team, and then he met the wind lifter, and then he met the group of the all pirate vessels. The name is smoke jumpers. And then he tried to do his first job as the firefighter, and Dusty is failed. And then in the next morning, Dusty try again and still cannot do his job greatly. And then when he's come back to the airport, he met the manager of the local resident hotel for the traveling stop. And then the manager is very rich, and he knows that Dusty is the world champion aerial racer from the first years ago championship. And then the manager invite him to the party at the night. And then at the night, Dusty come to the party, but suddenly there's a technical problem that made the hotel residence is set on fire. It's very big because the hotel residence is near the big forest, Pinus forest, and then the fire is easily to spread out. And then Dusty knows that he is now work as the firefighter, so he tried to come back to his airport, and then fill his water gate to set down the fire. And then he went to the hotel residence with his firefighter team, and this time Dusty is very serious because this is really bad conditions, really condition that the fire is very big, and can kill all the villagers and the hotel residents dwellers. And then Dusty do his job very well. And then, but at the end of the time during his action to set on the fire, Dusty to work up his gearbox again, and then he began to fall off, but he already finished. He already succeeds to bring the last water of the airport to the source of the fire. So when his began to falling down, the source of fire is went off, and then yeah, but Dusty's consciousness is went out, and then his forced landing to the forest, and his many of his part is broke off, and then he's lost consciousness, and then Blade Ranger, the captain of the firefighter teams, tried to help him and bring him back to the airport. And then at the airport in the next morning, after Dusty wake up, the engineer of the airport said that the gearbox is very bad condition, and is broke off. And then, but the engineer said that bring the happy news that he can make the new type of Dusty gearbox, the new types. So Dusty feel very happy, and then he after he doing his best job at the incidents that the fire is very big. He regained his status as the official firefighter team. So he come back to his own village, and then he greeted by his villagers, his friends over there, because he is now in the official firefighter teams. And then he is told the story that he is set down the fire with his team, and it is very great experience. And then from this story, it have a moral value that we must trust each other, because even the greater problem can be solved if we trust each other. That's all for me. Thank you.